Alrighty, our first class of the year. Off to a little slow start, but it's going to be good. It always is. So I want to talk about today. We're going to cover a couple of um, random topics that all tie together. So um, I want to talk a little bit about the whole concept of our journey is to arrive at a place of oneness um, with ourselves. And in becoming one with ourselves, then we're becoming one with, we recognize our oneness with the universe and with all things. So if all things are energy and we are energy, then we're not separate. We're all one. And in in our in our world, Western world, we're separate. Everything's separate. In other worlds, Native American, Eastern cultures, they're one with all things, right? So we're going to look at that and look at how um, to become aware and more one in our actions and our choices. So oneness is knowing. And really, when we come to a place of knowing, and knowing, it's not like I'm knowing and now I know. And we gain a sense of knowing about everything in life, about who we are, about uh, our divine soul, a knowing about our connection. So a knowing isn't something you check off. Um, it's a place that we arrive, and then that is truth. Knowing is truth. So, and we do it continuously, right? So oneness is knowing, and knowing is the root of being. So knowing allows us to be, just be. And knowing is, I know who I am, I know what I am, I know why I'm here. And I don't mean I know why I'm here as in I'm going to be an accountant, but I know why I'm here. I'm here as part of the whole. I'm here as divinity, touching the earth in different ways. And that's our service. So the other stuff is stuff we do in our service. So knowing this allows for neutral observation, because we talk about neutrality, getting to a place of neutrality. A place of neutrality is a place without duality, a place without judgment, a place without right and wrong, black and white, a place of observing without the lenses that we have learned to look through. It's removing those and looking, so to speak, with the eyes of God. And that gives us a neutral observation. It gives us an opportunity for meaningful responses and clarity in our perspective, or many perspectives, right? Because there is no right and wrong, right? We create right and wrong so that we think we feel safe and secure, but that's not where safety comes from. Knowing is the key to all manifestation. We get to knowing by being. So when we know something, it belongs to us, right? When we have knowledge, that knowledge belongs to us. If we take it out of our mind and we have a knowing in our, the knowing is becoming connected with what already resides within you. It's not pulling something in or pulling something out, so to speak. It's becoming connected with what already exists inside of you, what your true nature. So when we get a knowing, it becomes truth for us, it becomes real for us, and then it can take on a material form for us. Prior to that, it's a hoping, a looking and wanting, but there's not the knowing about it. So how do we get to being, and to being more in our oneness? So we get there by becoming empty. And I know this is going to be like, what? Because we've spent a lot of time looking at who we are, um, how we got to where we are, sifting and sorting what we clearly see is not part of our divine nature. And all of that is on the road to being. But really, we come to a place of emptiness of all the um, hooks our reality has in us, or the hooks we have in reality for whatever reason. Usually we connect with certain things to meet our needs, to give us a sense of being, a sense of grounding, all of that. But we are without that. So we become empty of the need to hook on to the things around us as they are, or that they have to be that way. So emptiness, and I copied this down out of a book, and I'm going to read it to you because it's really beautiful. And so emptiness is as beautiful as the sky. Your inner being is nothing more than the inner sky. The sky is empty, but it is the empty sky that holds all the whole existence. The sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, the planets. It is the empty sky that gives space to all that is. It is the empty sky that is the background to all that exists. Things come and go, and the sky remains the same. In exactly the same way, we each have an inner sky that is also empty. Clouds come and go, planets are born and disappear, stars arise and die, and the inner sky remains the same, untouched, untarnished, unscarred. We call the inner sky the witness, the observer, awareness, the watcher. That is the whole goal of meditation. So in our world, and because of our mind and our need to perform and stuff, we turn meditation even into an act of the ego. I need to meditate, I've got to log some time. And really, meditation is a coming into a place where we're observing our inner sky. Everything that floats across the sky is not you. It is just in your life. You've experienced it in your life, but it's not you. So as you observe in your time of quietness what is floating across the sky, you can, that's not me. That's not me. And you come to a place after a while where you begin to get a connection with you, with the truth, with the truth. And it's not a act of the ego. It's not I'm going to meditate to have a vision to create my life, or I'm going to, it is a falling into a place of being where we are acknowledging and connecting with all things and ourselves in a neutral and non-connected way. And this is where we connect with truth, right? This is where we get pregnant with truth, so to speak. Truth begins to come in because there's room, there's space, there's clear sky, and there's not a need for creating security, creating action items, creating a sense of doing a good job or being one or something. Those are all, the mind is very subtle, and it really wants to control every aspect of our life. And there's there's a story and I love it. It's there are a bunch of people at the beach, at the ocean, and they're made of salt. And they wonder what's in the ocean, what's at the depths of the sea. And one man says, I'll go see. And he dives in and he begins to dissolve because he's salt. And the sea is salt. And by the time he gets to the depths of the sea, he is no more. He is no more. Not he was obliterated and died, but he is no more as his mind, as his ego. His ego is melted away. So the mind of man, the mind of woman, of humans, is going to sit on the beach and rationalize and analyze and make plans, and all of it skirting the issue of, I'm not going to dive in because I will melt, So here's all the reasons I'm not diving in, or here's all my fears, or here's all the things I have to do. So we don't dive in and lose ourselves in the universal energy and love that is there for us. And it is a big fear with people to go in, to lose their mind, so to speak, to lose the ego, because we are the ego. And however much you are the ego is how much uncomfortable you're going to be, right? So when we get washed by the sea, so to speak, on our way in and into the depths of the truth of life and the beauty and the love that's here, then all of those things are cleansed from we're no longer listening to the ego, and we're listening from the soul and a place of knowing, So in our process, in our journey going forward, we're really wanting to take a step further and go off the shore and dive in. And, if you think you're going to drown, I'll pull you out or push you down. But it's really, we must come to the connection and realization of our oneness with all things and everything, and that everything is energy, and we're connecting with the energy intentionally or unintentionally. And this is creating your reality and my reality, but not independently. Everything that I do, how I choose to be, how I choose to live, affects each one of you, touches each one of you. And how you all choose to live and be touches each one of us. We're not exclusively living independently alone on our spiritual journey. We are coming to a place of knowing oneness. What I do matters to people across the planet. And not just people, all living things. Plants are living things. I mean, I always crack up. People are like, I'm not going to eat animals. Well, plants talk. Plants communicate with one another. Plants communicate with humans. It's how we honor what we're doing. We honor the livingness of all things. We honor in our choices and our actions. If we're gonna, people feel like fish is okay too, only because it doesn't have a voice or look cute. It's all okay. How do we honor the food that is giving its life to sustain our life? How are we honoring it, right? It's all about how am I honoring you in my actions and in my life? How am I honoring the sky, right? The earth. Like all of this planet was given to sustain life, not for us to exploit and think that we're so superior than all animals and plants and stone. Look, even the stones speak. Yes, they do. So we are one of many living things. So we can't ignore that if we're going to go in to a knowing and a being. We will not be able to remain isolated. We will be one, and we will know that our choices impact the whole. And it's not about the success of the individual. It's the harmony and advancement of the whole, and protection and caring of the whole. And that doesn't mean that you don't get to have your desires fulfilled. If you look at your desires, you'll find that they're going to serve the common good in some way, or your joy is going to radiate out and serve the common good, right? But it's looking at our spiritual energetic footprint, and then having that translate into our physical footprint. So and I'm not getting on a soapbox, but I'm going to say the products we buy, the food we eat, the way we live our lives contributes to the wellness and wholeness of the planet and its energy field and its ability to sustain life, or it takes away from it. It takes away from it. And becoming aware and educated about stuff is really important as enlightened beings, so that we're moving positive energy. This one lady said, if you really look at your impact and you really understand the impact of your choices on the resources, if you're going to fly in a jet, plant a tree, that's how much offense you're putting on the planet. So I'm not suggesting everyone don't fly anywhere. I'm suggesting you become aware and you do something to honor the earth and her resources and help support the replenishment of them. It's part of our spiritual responsibility. There's a million products now. It used to be you couldn't find anything that was safe. Now there's equal. You can buy detergent, you can buy anything that biodegrades. Trash bags, once you find a brand, stick with it. But it makes a difference. Because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening, and doesn't mean it's not our responsibility. Driving those plastic islands in the ocean, for example. And they're tested fish from all across the United States out of fresh water, and it's too toxic to eat, most of it. That's not because it's someone else's responsibility. It's because we need to become aware and start. We don't have to become activists, but we can start making choices, right? We can start making choices in line with who and what we are. We're God. We created this. We're little gods, right? We're all part of creation. So how we care for our creation and the energy is how we're going to live and be able to live going forward or not. So part of our journey in becoming one is realizing that we're one. We're one, and honoring the trees, the grass. Just in your experience in life, feel honor and respect for all that has been given to us to sustain our life as we journey here and evolve. So expanding our awareness outside of our own life and outside of our mind and into the great expanse of the sky within, the great expanse of the universe within, connecting with the universe without. We have to become nothing that's becoming outside of our ego. And then we have a connection with all things, and then we know what to do, and we're most useful in every situation. Um, so that's my start to the new year. um, you could make a ritual every day, not a law, but just build some rituals into life that allows you to remember to honor the food, the coffee we love so much, and we don't think about it, right? We don't think about it in making choices. We drink coffee, we stumbled across it, I didn't seek it out. We drink coffee from a place in Guatemala that the coffee we drink supports an orphanage. Came across it accidentally, really glad we did. Like, it's small choices. So, any comments or questions about any of that? Silence.
I think it's important that you talked about the products we buy, and like anytime I go on a social media platform, like I'm just getting inundated with all this information, and I have to admit it does hook my attention. But then I have to step back and be like, if I wasn't on my phone, it wouldn't have hooked my attention.
Yeah.
And I have a choice. I have the power of choice to say, I don't need that fourth curling iron.
I know which one you're talking about.
I know you know.
The ads are relentless.
It's like, yeah, but to your point, it's like the algorithm is there. They know how long I'm there. They know they're listening to this. I mean, and we have to take a step back and realize that before this device that's tracking us all the time and knowing everything, we're a part of nature.
Mhm. We're we are without the mask, without the
Yeah.
masquerade. We are. All of this is what we put out in front of us, where we're trying to get to where the other is forward, because that's true beauty, right? True beauty. Um, so Roundup kills weeds, and they're finding it in the intestines of animals, in the food that we eat, people. Like, when you become aware, it's like, I'll just spray my weeds and everybody else cannot do it. They're finding um, that the drugs that people throw away and all of this stuff, like the forever chemicals, are in the animals that live on the planet. Don't think for a minute they're not in you, even though you're not eating grass. But everything that we're doing is showing up everywhere, everywhere. And, you know, you think, well, I'm one person out of a billion. You're one energy, and energy turned on by eternity can change the world. One person can make a massive difference on the planet silently. It's an awareness, and then converting it into away from fear and into love. I need to be loving, care for this stuff lovingly, and and challenge. I'm going to do without this for so many hours a day. If you don't, if you can, you don't work off of it or something, challenge yourself. And then notice what's happening to you. Can you sit quietly? Or are you getting pulled? What's next on Facebook? What's on this? I wonder if I got an important email. And all of that restlessness translates into our eternal relationship, our inability to sit and observe the sky, to dive in and melt in the ocean, to melt away to nothing so that we can become something. We can become all things, right? And then in becoming all things, we begin to generate for the whole, for the whole of the earth and the universe. There's planets too, stars, everything is energy and affected by our life force. So next week, we'll talk um, about making choices about how we feel, how to make a choice about how we feel and the power behind that on a moment, on a life basis. So
I'm so bummed I have to wait another week for this.
it's a class a day.
$20, go into it now.
That's right, a class a day. Meet me every morning at 4 a.m.
Double up for a buck.
Woo.
But more than that.
I know sometimes I think it's going to be a long time in between too. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how things roll out. And
Thank you.
but I love you all, and go forth and be, or not. Actually, don't be. Try not.
Audrey, how do you feel about the Bills tomorrow?
I think I'm almost nervous that they've exhausted themselves, and they're either going to come on strong or they're going to really struggle. I think the fact that they're going to bring that guy out will probably help.
Yeah.
But they were struggling a little bit the last game. So
Thank you for today.
I think that perspective-wise, we need to bring sports back down into a realistic perspective. That's what I think, win or lose. So anyway, enjoy your week. This will be posted. And I'm always here. I'm always here for a chat, a cup of tea. You know, I'm out here in the fields. I would love to hear from anybody. So anyway, ciao.
Thank you.
Love you all. Bye.
Ellen, I know we're not meditating. We'll pick that up next week.
Okay.
Okay.